Widowhood explained. Widowhood racing has been around for nearly 80 years or more. When traveling in Belgium a few years ago, I watched a film made in the 1930s for the World's Fair. Racing widowhood was featured and identical to how we race now, right down to the nest fronts. The misconception was widowhood was a big secret until the 1950s. Racing straight widowhood, only cocks, is the easiest and efficient way to race pigeons. Every other system favors the hens. Widowhood favors the cocks. To race old birds you must race a system. That's right, every system is more favorable than the natural system. The last 5 years up to 2015 we have raced celibate hens. The celibate hens have flown better than the widow cocks. We now do both and I actually favor the hens. Many fanciers claim that their hens excel for them, so they do not want to change to widowhood. The natural system favors the hens, celibacy favors the hens, and double widowhood favors the hens. Get my point? If you race a system that favors the hens, your hens are going to be your better performers. Straight widowhood favors the cocks. For many years I have said I could put everything needed to know about widowhood on one page. The following article does just that. The number one question and dilemma is, should I mate the cocks, raise babies, just eggs, one baby, etc.? Here is the answer. It really does not matter. This is what I do. My cocks see the hens for the first time shipping night of the first race. I keep it very simple. My reasoning is, with no hens I can train and fly the cocks whenever. I use stock hens and extra unbroken hens for the cocks. With no mating and rearing young I can keep the cocks very lean to escape the hawks. My cocks do not waste energy rearing youngsters or driving hens. As for the molt, my cocks have usually dropped 1 maybe 2 flights by the last race, so feather is not a problem. Now the system made simple. 1. The cocks should spend 30 minutes with hens the first few races before crating for the race. They are left with the hens for 2 hours after a short race up to overnight on a long race. This is not real important. After week 3 just open next boxes for 15 minutes before crating for the race. Remove the cocks that are not racing before the hens are brought in. Toss the cocks that did not race to the hens in the morning, or place the cocks that did not race back in the loft once the hens have been removed for the day. 2. The day before shipping, Thursday for me, for a short distance race, is the day to feed for the race. On Thursday afternoon, if shipping is Friday, feed all day one of a mixture of 20% barley, 70% European mix and 10% safflower/hemp/flaxseed. 3. On Friday, the day of shipping for a short race, feed 3/4 ounce per bird European mix in the am. Feed 1/4 ounce per bird safflower/hemp/flaxseed about 1 p.m. Never feed too late into the afternoon or they may dehydrate. Water is always fresh with nothing added day of shipping. 4. Give a warm bath on day of shipping about 1 hour after 1 p.m. feeding. The bath relaxes them and helps them stay calm all night on the truck, plus it brings on form. Skip bath if rain is predicted. 5. Short distance races, feed half European mix, half depurative mix on day of return to build back reserves. Sunday through Wednesday 100% depurative, Thursday morning 75% depurative, 25% European. Thursday afternoon see above. 6. Day of return, 1 gallon of water must contain 1 tablespoon glucose, 1/4 teaspoon vitamins and electrolytes, any brand made for chickens will do, 1/4 teaspoon iodized salt along with a good friendly bacteria. 7. For long distance races 400 miles and above, feed the birds 50% depurative and 50% European mix Saturday through Tuesday. Feed mornings and evenings. Wednesday and Thursday, with Thursday being day of shipping, feed 50% European mix and 50% safflower, hemp, rape and flax mix. Feed birds all they want, then pull extra feed out. Vitamins and electrolytes on Wednesday with fresh clear water on Thursday. Pigeons should get vitamins and electrolytes day of return and the day before shipping. Tuesdays and Thursdays all season for 1 feeding mix 1/2 to 1 tablespoon flaxseed oil, buy at health food store, on grain, and add brewer's yeast, Belgium pink minerals, whey protein natural or vanilla flavor, and 1/8 teaspoon of iodized salt. Grit should be in front of pigeons at all times. Plus 1 little pot of Belgium pink minerals. 1 little pot of brown mineral block. 1 little pot of oyster shells and 1 pot of mixed commercial grit. 8. Mid-season, if performances falls off, let the cocks come home and spend overnight with the hens. The following week, bring in the hens 24 hours before shipping. Put in nest bowls and nesting material. Ship cocks and let them spend overnight with the hens when they return. Now go back to regular widowhood. They will be in great form and mentally be ready again. 9. Keep changing things to keep pigeons fresh. Week 3, put in only 1 really good hen before shipping. Week 4 put in bowls for the first time. Week 5 nothing, just crate and ship. Week 6 add one strange cock to the widow loft for 1 hour before shipping. Week 7 bring in hens 24 hours before, see above. Always have well-fed hens waiting for cocks to return from race. 10. Keep hens on wire and do not let mate. Feed rich European mix the day the hens will see the cocks. You do not want them to think about eating when the cocks come home. Feed widow hens barley 5 days per week. Not real heavy, keep them a little hungry. Treat hens with same medications at the same times as the cocks. Do not let them reinfect cocks. If hens mate up, do not use them for the cocks. No hen or sharing of a hen is better than a mated hen. Use stock hens that have been separated to add spark. Use yearling hens, they mate less. 11. Ship cocks every other week from 300 miles on. Use your judgment on how they act. If they are acting great, pool them. 12. Training. Let cocks out to free exercise for an hour 4 to 5 mornings and 2 or more evenings per week. You can give a toss to cocks that did not race on the day of the race if needed. Toss one long toss, 70 miles, midweek for the first month of the race season. If they have raced 300 miles or above, they can go 2 weeks without being raced or tossed. They will get all they need around the loft. Do not have the hens waiting when they return from a midweek toss. Seeing the hens too much causes a loss of form. 13. Keep calm. Do not go in loft while birds are resting. You must do all loft chores while they are out exercising. Widowers just eat, exercise and rest. This is the name of the game. No disturbances. Loft should be comfortable and warm. No open areas that cause the birds to fear something outside. Keep moisture out and dryness in by closing loft down on cold or rainy days. 14. A good sound health program must be followed with canker and respiratory medications given every other week, Sunday afternoon, Monday and Tuesday. Rotate the two and use different drugs each cycle. I rotate flagyl, ridsol and Imtril for canker. I rotate suinoval and doxycycline for respiratory. Baycox for coccidiosis if needed or much dampness and rain is going on for an extended period. Worm the birds around week 6 or 7. Using different drugs each cycle helps fight resistance to the drug. The more you select, the more you win. Making a selection in your loft comes down to selecting the birds that would form the strongest team for the racing season. A strict selection is important to have a good breed in the future. It helps you to find the good breeders in your loft to breed the best young birds, of which the value increases year after year. During the long winter nights, many fanciers take the time to think about the best possible couplings, the best birds in the loft and the best selection method. You should find the right answer to safeguard the future of your breeding loft and to have a successful racing season, which will be coming sooner than you think. A good selection should allow you to compose a team that consists of the best possible racing pigeons in your loft. But in order to do this, you should first of all decide what kind of team you're looking for. This means you have to determine what type of races you will be doing during the season and look for the pigeons that are best suited for this and that will yield the best results. If you manage to select the pigeons that are best suited for the competitions of your choice, you might have a successful season ahead. When you have selected a racing team for next season, you will also have to pay attention to the age of your pigeons. If you want to aim for the long distance races, for instance, you should look for a large team of older birds. This is because the physical strength of the bird is not all that matters in a long distance race. An equally important aspect is their degree of experience and their resistance, which often compensates for the lack in dynamism, which is typical of an old bird. This also explains why a long distance fancier should have a lot of birds in his loft that can last for quite some time, especially if he wants to win top prizes regularly. His pigeons should not be past their best as soon as they have done some more demanding races. They should gain experience in these races and they should be able to do well in any weather condition. Obviously, this does not apply to sprint racers. Thanks to weather forecast services, the internet and other innovations, most sprint races take place in good weather. This means experience is not that important to a sprint race pigeon. A strong spirit and quick navigational abilities are the most important skills for a sprint racer. Young birds usually have a strong spirit. A young bird is driven by dynamism and is likely to be more motivated compared to the older pigeons. We should not forget that the same applies when you prepare your pigeons for next season. We have already discussed this in our article about widowhood. The point is that a difficult flight has a considerable impact on the nervous system of a young bird, whereas a dyed-in-the-wool old bird with plenty of experience is not likely to be disturbed by a flight in difficult conditions. The navigational system of a pigeon is an innate ability, which the fancier can improve with training flights. If a sprint racer has well-developed navigational abilities, his experience from previous flights will only play a minor role here. Which birds should stay, which should not? A difficult question. As we said earlier, a fancier who will only play sprint races should make sure he has a racing team that consists of mostly young birds. We think fanciers should not focus on the number of prizes they can win but on the value of the prizes they win. A fancier has nothing to lose when he replaces an old, tired pigeon that can only win a few low prizes by a young and motivated bird with a promising future ahead. This means that a fancier who wants to do shorter distance races should have high quality breeders so he can always have new young birds to replace the older ones. But there is one exception: you should not replace older birds if their performance does not decrease over the years and if they are still fit. Besides, you should keep in mind that older birds that are still fit and vital are not only great racers, they are also invaluable in the breeding loft. It would be wise to no longer let them do races as soon as they show signs of weakness. The same applies to long distance pigeons. We will run through the important factors when it comes to selecting the birds: their health, the molt, a good origin, outside appearance, the nervous system, the bird's behavior in the loft and during a flight. It is up to the fancier to make a judgment about his pigeons based on observations and checkups in the loft. These observations are more valuable than any theory. An excellent sprint race fancier told us this: every time he enters the loft he would take the time to take a careful look at the behavior of his pigeons in the loft. Some of them would get up a 1.50 meter high box with 6 or 7 wing strokes, other much more nervous birds only need 3 to 4 strokes. He knows from experience that the best birds will be the ones that only need 3 to 4 strokes. Any fancier can learn important things from observing his pigeons in the loft. Those who have a thorough knowledge of the pigeon can judge its physical features fairly easily. Think of the bird's balance, its skeleton, its muscles, the wings, its feathers and its vitality. Unfortunately, some other features cannot be seen with the naked eye, which makes it much more difficult to judge them. The inner organs of a pigeon include its heart, lungs, liver, glands, and intestines and have a considerable influence on the performance of a pigeon as well. It is very difficult to judge the quality of the inner organs from the outside. So it is impossible to find out if the organs of a pigeon are functioning correctly. But there is something else we should take into consideration: the physical strength of a pigeon influences its performance as well. Even when a pigeon has a perfect build and a perfect health, it is still uncertain whether it will be a successful one. When it has everything it takes to become a successful racer but it lacks a strong spirit and navigational abilities, the pigeon will never become successful. At this point, a fancier who is always committed, who breeds, studies and trains his pigeons and who knows the origins of his birds will be the only person who can make a correct judgment about his pigeons. A selection in the hand is a good method to estimate the value of a bird. But nowadays there are too many birds that do not last very long. The reason is that fanciers are only looking to the psychic characteristics, its intelligence, of a bird without paying attention to the other aspects. If you want to become successful, you have to be a good breeder and a good player. A bird should develop its intelligence, willpower and physical strength simultaneously if you want it to make progress. We have seen birds who could immediately find the shortest way home and who were very motivated to reach their loft as soon as possible. But if that bird does not have the strength to do this a few times in a row, it will never become a successful racer. The ultimate aim is to combine the two elements in your bloodlines: physical strength and psychic qualities, intelligence. A fancier will never become successful in sprint races if he neglects the physical characteristics of his birds. On the other hand, a long-distance fancier who neglects the intelligence and the psychic qualities of his pigeons will never become successful either. If you want your pigeons to improve, you have to pay attention to both strength and intelligence. First of all, you have to judge your pigeon in the hand. You should try to get a clear idea of its physical strength and the bird's overall fitness. At the same time, you should also make sure that the pigeons of your bloodlines have a high degree of intelligence, a lot of determination and good navigational abilities. If you can manage to select your birds with that in mind, and if you can breed strong and intelligent birds season after season, you will end up with a high percentage of top-class birds in your loft. Your racing team will only consist of birds that are strong and intelligent enough to do the most demanding races. Get my main racing system, just email me direct. I'm an experienced ex-pigeon racer from England, and I can offer valuable insights and guidance on all aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to racing. During my racing days, I managed a small team of no more than 70 pigeons, including stock, young birds, and old birds. It was not uncommon for me to send as few as 6 birds to a race and still secure the top 3 positions out of up to 2,500 pigeons in my club and federation. My race distances typically ranged up to 300 miles, and I consistently achieved top 5 placements in my club. My expertise extends to the art of selecting excellent breeders, including evaluating pigeons based on their eye-sign characteristics. I firmly believe that true champions can only be bred from top quality stock, and I can guide you in identifying and acquiring such pigeons. I understand that many pigeons for sale are advertised based on their lineage or pedigree, but I emphasize the importance of assessing the bird itself rather than relying solely on paperwork. As part of my offer, I invite you to share photos of your pigeons, including their eye sign and wing characteristics. I'll provide you with free advice on racing and breeding based on my extensive experience and knowledge. Additionally, I will share auction links to high-quality breeding birds that have the potential to produce winners in your loft. Here's what you can expect to receive from me. A comprehensive Word document containing valuable insights and strategies for successful pigeon racing, including specific racing methods for both old and young birds, as well as general advice. Private YouTube videos sent to your email, covering various aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to race preparation. Detailed recommendations on supplements and additives to add to your pigeon's drinking water, with scientific evidence supporting their effectiveness. Similar products are used by professional athletes and racehorses to enhance performance. Assurance that your pigeons will race home faster, provided that you have quality birds to begin with.